So where did it all begin? I don't even know. We started out with the chickens, as you guys have seen in the other videos. We started out with chickens, and then we ended up with goats and guinea fowl and turkeys and pigs. And now we got Highland cattle, Scottish Highland cattle. One of the true heritage breeds. They're beautiful, beautiful animals to work with. We ended up with one, and her name is Bella, and you guys have seen her. This is what Bella looks like, and she's just an absolute sweetheart. She's puppy dog tame. She's a wonder. She's a joy to work with in every regard. But we thought, no, we can't just have one. We really want to have three. We want to have 2 girls and a boy. And trying to find girls that are unrelated is very, very challenging where we are. If we're probably gonna have to source a bit further away. And then we have to deal with things like transportation, things that we aren't prepared for. We're not cattle people, we're city people that moved out to the country, and we're just kind of winging it day by day. We don't know what we're doing. We're having fun though. But so we had to get Bella home. We had to rent a trailer, and some friends helped us, and we went and picked her up, and we drove her about 2.5 hours away, drove her all the way home, and she's been great. But then we had to find a boy. We found a boy, and his name was William. And you guys have seen him in other videos, and William was exceptional. We were very, very excited about William. The problem that came up is the individual that owned William had a real horrible accident, and he was a paraplegic in a wheelchair. Wonderful, wonderful man, but the problem being is we could never actually ever catch William. We had a team of people that were trying dearly to try and catch him, but for the time that William has been born, he's basically been wild on 100+ acres. So we were never ever able to catch William. So then we were kind of like, well, we'll keep trying, eventually we'll catch him. But as winter was quickly approaching, and you want to kind of keep him in the right age group, we kind of thought, well, we got to start looking elsewhere. And out of the blue, somewhere on Facebook, before the whole ban on selling animals popped up, there was another one that came up. A gentleman had a whole bunch of different Highlands available, different ages, and I went to see them. They were about 1.5 hours away, and they were beautiful. His male was decidedly different than the male that was the father to William, and this guy was actually show stock, fully registered, everything. He was just breathtaking for an animal and stuff like that, if you can actually say that about a cow. But we ended up choosing a 6-month of his. He had a 5-month and a 6-month-old. And the 5-month-old from a different cow, obviously. The 5-month-old was decidedly smaller than the 6-month-old. 1 month, makes a difference, yes, but not this big of a difference. So we opted to go for the 6-month-old, and so started the adventure of getting Chewy and bringing Chewy home. So we got Chewy and we brought Chewy home. The guy delivered him in the back of a pickup truck. Destroyed my entire front yard because we've been nothing but a swamp for so long, but we were successful in getting Chewy off the truck and into our little paddock here with the goats. And we thought we would do the same thing that we did with Bella and train him down and do exactly the same thing and have lots of fun. He'd learn we're mom and dad. Now, Highland cattle, if none of you never worked with Highland cattle, they're unlike almost all the other breeds of cattle and stuff like that. These guys are super docile, usually right away. They're sometimes skittish, they're sometimes nervous people and stuff, but these guys here are docile right away, and we had no issues whatsoever. The only problem we were faced with is we weren't prepared is that Chewy and Bella could see each other, they could smell each other. They were only literally separated by a 4-foot high section of goat fence, and the 4-foot section of goat fence at the back had almost been damaged by Bella when we first brought her home, and she freaked out and kind of ran into the fence a little bit when one of the dogs barked at her. So that fence was really just kind of temporarily being held together. Well, it wasn't enough to keep Chewy away from his betrothed, so half hour or so after he was here, he broke through that fence, and now he's on 3+ acres with Bella, and okay, well, they're together now, nothing we can do about that. And then we fast forward, about half hour after that, the farmer all around me, beside me, on one side is his feedlot, and for miles, many sections behind me, as far as the eye can see in either direction, is cows and calves. And that's what my neighbor does for a living, is he raises cows with calves. Every season he buys a bull, brings them in, impregnates all the calves, and then he basically raises cows and calves and he sells off the offspring. Sounds great, eh? Well, we found out that the hillbilly we got the cow from, we got Chewy from, never actually weaned him properly. Never weaned him at all. Basically removed him from his mom and brought him here and dropped him off. Now the problem lies is the fact that all those cows behind me, hundreds and hundreds of cows, when they called for their calves, Chewy broke through the last defense we had, which was our last fence at the very end of the property. And it was all built exactly. It was all 4-foot solid goat fence, heavy duty goat fence, heavy wire. But it wasn't enough for a Scottish Highland, even at a 6-month-old size. So Chewy has now lived on for a better part of 3 months in the back 100+ acres of my neighbor's property. Neighbors had no problem with him. He says, but winter comes, I'm not feeding it and I'm not watering it. So Operation Chewy started then. And we've been trying desperately to try and figure out how we were going to catch Chewy out in the wild, because everybody that knows anything about cattle knows exactly how you catch cattle. You direct them into chutes, and you use trailers, and you use all these different things. Well, we don't have any of those things. We have basically a husband and wife team. We have lots of friends. We have a quad, and I bought a rope. Should be good, right? Should be good, no problem. But basically, that's how Operation Chewy came about. The weekend before, we had a team of about 6 or 7 people come out and help us with quads and food and everything like that, trying to find a way to catch Chewy, but he wanted nothing to do with that. So ultimately, the success came with just me and my wife going out there by ourselves calmly with a bucket of oats, and we've been feeding him for a few days, leaving food out in certain spots, and my wife was honestly able to basically go right up to him, kneel down, and he came to her and he started eating out of the pail, and my wife, with her super proficient cowgirl lasso skills, was able to gently place the lasso around his horns, because Scottish Highlands have horns right away, and they just get bigger and bigger and better as they get older, but they're attached, so you can use that as a pulling point. So we put that around him, and that started it, and she kept feeding him. And then once we had him on that and he wasn't scared by it, I walked up and I brought in the calf harness and the long rope, and we basically attached a harness to him, and then we used the Jeep to get him going a little bit, and he pretty much walked all the way back. It was a long process, took about an hour, but we walked him back probably about 2 miles from the farmer's property all the way to our little gate. Hey everyone, this is Chewy. Chewy broke out the day we got him, and he's lived back here on 100+ acres of our farmer's yard. We tried last weekend with a whole team of friends and some quads and stuff, and we weren't successful. But my wife, the magical one, was able to walk up to him cautious, carefully, with some oats, and he came to her right away, and she was able to put the lasso around his horns, and now we're struggling to get him all the way back to our house over there, which is about almost half a mile, 3/4 of a mile away still. And Chewy's definitely not liking that, so we're going really, really slow and taking lots of breaks. But we finally got him through the little bit of a river, so now it's all easy street all the way home. Right, Chewy? Bella's waiting for him at home. Well, Dayna and me made it happen. Can't say it wasn't easy, because it sure as hell wasn't. But Chewy's at home. He's already seen the electric fence. He didn't like that. So hopefully, Chewy will be here to stay, and him and Bella will produce some babies in a year or 2. Right, Chewy? What do you think? You're just hungry and thirsty. We're sure glad to have him home. Right, Chewy? You eat as much as you want. What about you, Bella? She's just eating. And now Chewy and Bella are together again. It was a lot of work. It was definitely worth it. But it's the follies of living here. It's the follies of what we do on our farm at outnumbered acres. And we probably won't keep stopping. We'll see what shenanigans happen next. Thanks, guys.